Talking Tottenham, a fantasyfocus.com production.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 167 of Talking Tottenham. My name is Bucky. I'm joined, as always, by young Daniel Shakes. Daniel Shakes, I am officially excited. Season's almost here. Thought we played a good match today. We're seeing some movement out. We're seeing a tiny bit of movement in. A lot of rumors out there. There's a lot to feel positive for once after droning on endlessly for the last 2 to 3 months with you. It feels good to get that little butterfly in my stomach again. Are you feeling some butterflies, or are you just like a stone steel lock trap with that gut of yours?
Well, normally that, Bucks, but I'd be lying if I didn't say there were some butterflies. And what a difference a week makes for you. You were on death's door, man. I was a little worried about you.
Yeah, I listened back to the show just because I was kind of concerned with some of my comments coming off as being like on the deathbed. I'm here to say I found new life with this team. And I think it starts with the kits, which we'll get into when we get to our preview. But first, we got to tip our caps and say goodbye to two players that were at Spurs for quite a while. We'll start with Toby and Lamela, obviously the longest tenured out of him and Toby. When you think Toby and Lamela, which is the moment of shithousery that resonates the most with you?
Can I go back to Martial hitting him and then him just going down like he was shot, getting that red card?
Against Man U.
Yep, against Man U. 6-1. That was just last year. Man, I don't know, Bucks. There's so many like just studs up tackles that somehow didn't even get a yellow, let alone a red, as he only got one red card ever. And that was in the Arsenal match that he also had the sick Rabona goal. One of two Rabona goals. 177 appearances for Spurs. Guess how many goals?
I know it. It's 17.
You know it. Does that seem high or low? Like just kind of looking back.
Extremely low.
It feels that way, right? But it did seem like you look back on some YouTube video clips from, when he joined 2013 all the way through now. It does feel like he's on the pitch a lot during some crazy big events for Spurs, some big time matches. So Coco put in his time, man, and wish him nothing but the best over at Sevilla.
So the thing that stands out would be, number one, the effort, the intensity, and I think that's part of the reason why he's in there, right? For those big matches, those big moments, you never had to worry about intensity. You never had to worry about a guy with huge balls, and you never had to worry about a guy that could pull out a Rabona out of nowhere and make magic happen. Not, coming in, the hopes were so high. He never came close to those highs. Really, in my opinion, he's somebody that for value we could have got out a lot earlier, meaning 3, even 4 years ago. But he was a great servant to the club. I love Toby and Lamela. I will miss him. My personal favorite, it's tough to choose between the Van Dijk incident from 2 seasons ago. That one was just ridiculous. Basically, like he got shot when he was just brushed by Van Dijk there, earning a penalty, and then Sergio Ramos tackle against Real Madrid. Just blatant shithousery just to get in Ramos's head and then basically starting a fight. Both of those are fantastic. I'm going to miss Lamela, but it's good to see him go. We'll talk about Brian Heel, a.k.a. the Gilster, when we get there as far as incoming players. And we'll kind of talk about that deal and your thoughts on it, Shakes. But we move on. We bid farewell to Toby Alderweireld, who fantastic Rolls-Royce defender for Spurs. And, he's heading into the 33rd year. It's on the downward spiral, big wage bill.
Wouldn't call it a spiral, Bucks.
Yeah. There goes my brain again, getting all negative. No, just kind of on a downward trajectory. But he had a good year last year. I mean, he was solid for a defense that really lacked any sort of continuity, any sort of structure. So it was really good to see him go out with a good year. Surprising destination for Toby, though. Qatar.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. And that deal just happened so quickly. It's like it gets floated out probably by his team, his agent, even I think during still Euros, that he was looking to make a move. And then just by the time Euros was a week old from the last match, it's like Toby was already, it wasn't just one of those rumors like, oh, this club's circling, this is happening, maybe this could happen. It was just like done deal. It's on Fabrizio's Twitter. It's over.
Yeah, and it's one of those rare ones where we don't have much insight as to the price tag, but from what I read, it was less than £5 million. Surprising number for a player who I think still has a lot to offer a team, especially a team in Qatar. I mean, I think he'll immediately be one of the better
He's
players
like
in that
best
league.
center back in that country, right? Like
Probably
just right now.
one of the best headers of the football on a set piece.
Yeah, man. He had some important goals, especially against Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
Two that I
Big
can
time.
remember immediately, like last year, and then what was it, 2015-16, where he had the tying goal before Kane hit his curler. Toby put in like a rebound off a corner to level it for Spurs in the second half. And I remember the place just going ballistic. That was like the best 30 minutes I've ever watched Spurs play. Like that when they were trying to get the equalizer and then go ahead against Arsenal when they were both at the top of the table. God, that feels so long ago, Bucks. Toby was my boy. I will miss him dearly. I will miss Coco too. Coco does have that what if feel because he was more injury prone. So that's where the bummer was with the stink badger, Eric Lamela. He just never really seemed to get the most fluid run of games like he did at the start of his career with Spurs. Toby, though, was just a rock. I mean, there was that one year where he had, I think it was like a hamstring or calf issue, and Jan played with Dave a lot, and Spurs made do with that. But when Spurs were at their peak, their center back pairing of peak Jan and peak Toby, that was tough to match. I think I read he only made one mistake that actually led to an opponent's goal in all of his appearances for Spurs Bucks, as far as like making a mistake with a football. So he was just a rock solid guy back there. And I'm kind of surprised not other big clubs looked at him, just to even have him on the team. And it's not like his wage bill was super seriously high, but it just feels like, throw him on my roster over at PSG or at like one of those types of clubs. So happy trails to Toby, though.
I find it surprising that
a
bigger name didn't come and pick him up because when I say, high wage bill, that's for Spurs. That's only regarding how Spurs do business and not so much some of these other teams that just throw money around like it's a strip joint. But I'll miss both of them. I'll miss them both. I'll miss Toby's hair, just immaculate every single game. I think the hair was harder than the skull.
Both Lamela and Toby, excellent heads of hair.
See, I'm not
we're
a Lamela
jealous.
hair guy. I'm not a Lamela hair guy.
I like it. It could be a different design. Toby, it was old trusty. Probably hasn't changed his hair gel since 9th grade.
Does he shower?
Toby?
Mm-hmm. Or is that just one big brick of hair?
He cleans himself up. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, if he's 6'2", he's actually 6'3" because the hair is just part of his body and that he could head the ball and the hair wouldn't move. It's a helmet.
A couple of odes from a couple folks viewing here. Ian, Coco equals Sergeant Shithousery. I like that. Stink Badger, you got Nate Keller here. Death, taxes, Stink Badger getting a yellow card. I want to say that's a Danny Shakes quote from some point. But it is good, man. It's good to get them out. The thing I was so down about last week, I think, was that we haven't had that movement out. And at least this starts that acceptance that the run was over. We need to restart. We have a new manager in place, a new mentality. We have some great pieces in play, but if you're aging, if you have high wage bill, it's time to recycle. You got to hit that reset cycle, and that's what we're doing here. It feels very good. Brian Heel, aka the Gilster. I will be calling him the Gilster. I don't know if you've come up with a name yet, Shakes.
Gil Daddy Flex.
That's pretty good.
Thank
Gil
you.
Daddy Flex.
We'll see how he performs.
I'll tell you what, the kid looks like he's got some game to him. A little bit meek, like he's, Meek Millish out there. He looks like a kid. Looks like he's got a Beatles haircut, which I appreciate. I like a nice clump of hair up there. Just let that thing fly around. Kind of looks like a George Best type of deal.
He definitely has the hair, Bucks. He's it seems like everyone on the pundit side, and I guess that includes you and I, right? Just seasoned pundits of football and Spurs. Everyone's going to make
shitheads that just talk about this.
Everyone's going to gravitate to he's got to get used to the toughness of the EPL, which, yes, we get it because he's 5'7" and 130 pounds soaking wet. So, yes, he will have to bulk up, so to speak. He'll have to learn, what the intensity, the toughness is to probably make it as a winger over in the Prem. However, I'm pretty excited about it. It didn't feel like he was going to go anywhere. And then suddenly you see Lamela plus cash, 25 mil for Gil Daddy Flex, a.k.a. the Gilster, Brian Heel. And now we got 2 young Spaniards on the team, Bucks. Look at us. The whole left side's just locked down.
We're just diversifying all over the place.
What do you think?
Trying to get more international flavors. We're like a nice cafeteria at a nice shopping mall.
I agree with that. I like that analogy. Do you think he makes meaningful contributions this year? Probably more end of this year.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
I mean, I think because Spurs are in, the Europa Conference League, you'll see him play there. You'll probably see him in some early FA or Carabao Bang Energies. Wonder if he'll be like as a sub at the Prem, team sheet. I don't know about that because if Lucas, Steve, who both had good games, Lucas played great today, which we'll talk about the MK Dons match. Like if they're still out there, along with Son, Kane, Dele, it gets a little bit kind of logjam up top. So not sure how quickly his impact could come, but I definitely like the dip into the Utes, as I like to call them.
That's what you've always called them.
For sure. The youngsters.
For the last 10 days since I started Uting it up. I'm pumped about him. I think this kid has flash, and I like flash. I also think he's very direct. From the videos I've watched, he has a very nice cross ball into the box. Good weight on it, good direction on it. A kid that I think could do a few things, but he'll definitely play in the Europa Bang Energy Conference League. I think that'll be a great spot for him. I am, yeah.
I watched a little bit of Argentina-Spain Olympics today, and he came in probably around the 80th minute or so, Bucks, to see the game out. He had a nice stint where he dribbled the ball, got away from a couple guys, then drew a foul. So basically just ate like 45 seconds on his own in extra time so that Spain could advance. So it was very smart by him where he took the ball and drawing the foul.
So where did they have him set up when they brought him in?
Left side as a winger.
Okay. See, that's the one piece that frightens me a little bit. I think Steve could do well there. But we're watching these preseason matches, and you have Sonny, who's been up top, kind of wandering around a little bit, kind of like a free striker. And then we had Steve on the left, Lucas kind of on the right, but fading inside. Where do you think he fits in best for Spurs with Harry Kane in the lineup?
Well, I think that's also part of his development. He's probably just predominantly only played on the left side. So I don't know if he's ready to play as an inverted winger on the right.
He's played both sides, but I think he's more comfortable as an inverted winger. He's a left-footed man.
I like how you asked me where he played today. Now you're telling me where he plays.
Well, I know where he plays. I was just curious where Spain had him since you had inside intel. I'm actually trying to make you look good for once.
Thank you, Bucks. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, if you have someone that's a dribbler, then he's going to have the ball. I mean, if his crossing's good, then that's what you want. If it's dominant left foot, keep him on the left side and look for those crosses. It's just if Spurs play with wing backs, you have Reggie making runs and he's doing the crossing. I don't know if he's comfortable yet going, right into the teeth of the heart of the defense in the Prem yet. So it just feels like a project, which I'm fine with. And maybe just after we watch a few more matches with him and the, playing with his new teammates, it'll become much clearer as to like where it suits him best.
I think it's going to take him a shorter amount of time to acclimate than you think. I mean, he played in Liga. What do you call it? La Liga.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say Liga. Oh,
you're going to combine the two?
Yeah, I'm all over the place today.
Me too.
La Liga. So he was pretty attack-minded there for Ibar. Obviously, Ibar finished dead last, but everything I've read, I've listened to a couple of different podcasts that spoke about Brian Heel, and they just said, he's a kid with a ton of talent, and Nuno really likes young talent. So that's the thing that's got me hopeful about him. But at the very least, it's an investment piece to get better in 2 years, in 3 years. But if we can get something out of him now, which I think we will, because I think we're going to thin this squad out. When we thin the squad out, we're going to have to look somewhere for the Bang Energy Conference Cup.
No, I think you're right. The key, though, will be Steve. If Steve moves on, and I know there's some rumblings about Ajax sniffing around, and Lucas, too. I mean, I've read reports that the club would be open to transferring him out, but he's such a good glue guy and Team Spurs. I think it would have to be really the right fit, and I don't think they'd want to send him to another Premier League team. It's just he's just going to have to wait his turn that way, but that's where we do look forward to these other campaigns.
How did you feel about the deal? 25 million going over there with Lamela, which
felt like a lot.
He was valued at 33 though. So you know, if he's valued at 33, I think the asking price was somewhere around probably 38 to 40 for Brian Heel.
It felt like a lot, but then, you know, you take a step back and you realize Lamela, he's 29 years old. He'll be 30 in March. As far as meaningful contributor on the team, Lamela had played some big games, but let's be real, he wasn't starting in the 11 most of the time. And it's one of those, I think, transfers that you're going to see more of this year, maybe even next year too, where you got teams looking to unload to get some money because they're in financial trouble right now. They also still, though, got to replace them with a player. So there might be a few more of these players plus cash deals. So then that does kind of throw the valuation out of whack because now it depends on what you value Eric Lamela. It felt like a bit, but yeah, I mean, if let's say you do say he's technically going to be a mid-30s player in a year or two, hopefully, you know, in that transfer range, then that's a good piece of business for Spurs. But only time will tell because of the whole player aspect with Lamela. Watch him have a great season. I'm rooting for Eric Lamela.
Did you see the one tweet where it was like top value transfers in Europe or football history? Number 3 was Brian Heel, 25 million plus Eric Lamela.
like behind Neymar to PSG.
Yeah, and then, he was the 3rd overall.
Yeah, Bale to
sandwich snug between 135 million and 115. So
that's good.
Big money deal. I'm excited to see what the kid has to offer. Let's go ahead. Let's just talk briefly about Romero. I know the negotiation tactics in Levy's panic room they're going rather smoothly from what I hear. I think that Levy right now has them exactly where they want him. He's waterboarding them currently. There's a waterboarding torture scenario that is currently ongoing, and Levy's going to get what he wants, which is 47 mil instead of 48.5 mil.
Yeah, that's where I don't know what to believe, but it does feel like they're either like just minuscule as far as how far apart they are, or it does seem like the goalposts are being moved, which is an American term, but basically Spurs seem to meet the valuation, and then suddenly it just all changes in the last second. And hopefully that doesn't mean Paratici. We've been calling him Paratici Bucks, but apparently it's Paratici. So I think we call him the Rat since he's the head cheese. He's the guy in charge. But, you know,
I'm not really finding a correlation there.
You've never heard the Rat being known as the leader, like Rat Pack?
Really?
Sinatra?
The Rat is the leader?
Yeah, man.
Is that why Splinter leads the Ninja Turtles?
For sure. There's countless Rat leaders. Frank Sinatra, Splinter, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
that's a lot of that in my house.
Oh. Mickey fucking Mouse.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, buddy.
All right. So what about Paratici? I can't say that word.
I just hope he's not bidding against himself, because you're seeing Chelsea go after Koundé, right? They're trying to do a player swap plus money. So you're seeing that same thing again. Man City's fine on defensive side of the ball. I don't see Man U dabbling in. Liverpool probably will not, based off their business. So it's just like, who else? You know, they need to unload this guy. So let's not bid against ourselves, and let's hold strong a little bit, unless it is something like we're $400,000 apart. Let's not also lose it because of that.
I agree. Well, we talked about this ad nauseum last week. I'm not going to get back into my feelings on what that negotiation room looks like, but at this point, it doesn't matter. Just throw in the money. You've got all Spurs fans behind this guy. He won Serie A Defender of the League last year. It's time to make the move. We need to solidify that defensive line. We saw it today again not the best in the center of the pitch. It just has to happen. We have to get better there. I think Dyer and Winks not playing today tells me that they might be on their way out. So, yeah, I really want Romero in. I'm geeked up. I did exactly what I said I wouldn't do, which is I get really hyped up.
You let hope creep in.
It's not hope as much as I just need it. I'm addicted now to the Romero. I need Romero in my veins. Brand new street drug.
I asked this, I think, last podcast, but we're still in the camp of drop 50 mil on Romero versus 50 mil on 3 center backs, like Tomiyasu, a couple other guys. Like, we just want like the gold standard guy, right? That we just put him right in the middle if it is a back 3, or he's just one center back paired with Rodin or somebody, and we just go from there. Like, you get the Mercedes, you get the luxury product here. Is that what we're doing? Quality over quantity?
I think it's more like a Rolls Royce. We're looking for another Rolls Royce. We just had one transfer out. It's time to bring one in. Mercedes Benz, we got a couple of those. Tanganga, he's a Merc.
That's a good point. I don't know what the luxury car of Argentina is, but I'm sure we can find out.
That'd be pretty interesting. I need him at this point. So hopefully they get it done. It seems like it will get across the line. It's just more tactics from Levy to make sure that players cannot actually practice with their teammates for quite a while before being asked to start for Spurs against Man City week 1.
He was nursing an injury, Romero, during Copa, so hopefully he's gotten better since then, but I haven't read much else about it.
All I know is if you're the defender of the league, bring him in. We need somebody like him. But, you know, the 3-player thing is very interesting. When you read like option 1, here's our option 1. It is Christian Romero. We're bringing him in. It's him or bust. But there's also these other 3 options that would almost equal, if not surpass that by 5 or 6 million. I understand if you're playing that much for one player, you're banking a lot on him, and the pressure is pretty high there, not only from the player's perspective, but also from a fan's perspective. You know, for me, if we bring a guy in for 55 mil, whatever it turns out to be in pounds sterling, then I expect the world from that player right away. We saw it with Ndombele, and then inevitably you and I sit here and curse him out a little bit, try to get him firing on all cylinders, improving week over week. But it's also the player feels that too. So
for sure.
I don't mind the notion, though, that this player could be very good at 17 or 18 mil, or Tomiyasu at 20 to 22 mil. You know, I think there's advantages and disadvantages to kind of spraying it out. So if the play is they're bring in 3 different players, well, what does that mean for Rodin? What does it mean for Tanganga? What does it mean for Dyer and Sanchez? I think obviously Dyer and Sanchez, one of the 2 goes. But that's where I think, I think there's enough to build on from. We have young players that have played in the Prem, that have played in Europe, that I want to see get more opportunities now that Toby's out the door. Tanganga being option A for me there, Rodin being option B. I'd like to see what we have currently. So I'd rather target that Rolls-Royce player, that number 1 target on the board, and just say if the difference is 4 to 5 million, what do we do? If that's the difference from finishing 5th to 4th, then why are we sitting here wasting time and making this string out for eternity before getting this done?
You think that last part is like exactly what the rat said to Levy?
100%. I mean, you get more money if you finish higher in the table, you get more prize money. It's a very simple equation. I love how simple they make it over there for us in England.
Yeah, and I didn't mean it as any slight on like the Tomiyasus or, Rodin, any of those guys. It's just we're creating crazy expectations for Christian Romero. Seems like he deserves it, but it's just amazing how it's like the bottom part of that bell curve, Bucks, to get all statistics on you. It's just once it gets real narrow, you just see the price spike. It's like Tomiyasu, 23 million, and then boom, double that, more than double that, Christian Romero. So it almost makes the other guys look like scratch off lottery tickets. Like you don't know if they're even going to be worth it.
Is,
it's
though.
like,
Isn't that what it is?
Well, I guess, but you're looking at it in the sense like Christian Romero's like the absolute sure thing, which I'm going to hope he is, but you don't know. I mean, I feel like also Dave had a huge price tag, and that might have really kind of hurt his psyche. Now that you said that earlier, got me thinking about Dave, not just Tanguy and Dombele. So I don't know, man. I mean, if he's got the makeup for it, and he was just the dude over at Atalanta and Juve, I just feel like you got to go get him.
So the reason I went that way is because I'm in touch with my my brain thanks to therapy.
Thought you were gonna say something else.
What do you think I was going to say?
Medicine.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, those players are probably taking medicine as well.
Would you call Speedy Gonzalez a head rat?
No, isn't he a chinchilla?
He was in. Oh, he was.
I want to say Speedy Gonzalez is a chinchilla, Shakes. This is going to have to take some internet research here.
Ratatouille, head rat.
He does make a fine ratatouille.
I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna start naming rat leaders throughout this podcast.
Let's see what they have him pegged as here. It looks to me like a chinchilla, but they call him a mouse. That does not look like a mouse. And a mouse never wear.
They called him the fastest mouse in all of Mexico. That was like his tagline.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it. It's a chinchilla.
Still pushing back.
You can't argue that he looks more like a chinchilla than he looks like a mouse. What does a chinchilla look like? Chinchilla. Oh, that's a chinchilla, man. That's a chinchilla. I've seen chinchillas in the wild. That's a chinchilla if I've ever seen one. It's been negated. Jerry, I see ya. It's been negated. He's a chinchilla. You heard it here first. But it's one of those things, Shakes, where it's just like if you're targeting that player, you mentioned that we have this kind of scratch off idea. Well, it is just that with any player that you bring in, unless you're bringing in a Harry Kane or if, God forbid, Hunman's son goes somewhere, you know what you're getting there completely. And I'm only referencing Spurs players. There's plenty of other players out there that are in that same boat. But everything is a scratch-off ticket. It's just that Romero, from where I stand, is that the Big Daddy $20 ticket scratch-off.
I gotcha. I like that.
The other ones are the $5. You could still end up with the same amount of money. You invested a little bit less, or maybe you invested the same. You just had more to scratch off, more work. Obviously, the coaching staff has to train with these players more. They have to actually get them inserted into the matches. So it is a scratch-off game, but I would rather, me personally, scratch off Fridays, a tradition in my life. I get a $20 or two $10s. It just depends on my feeling that day. So maybe I am Daniel Levy.
I like that scatterbrain reply, Buck. So I don't know if you arrived on 2 10s or 120, but I do get the odds are better on the $20 ticket. I don't know what I do like the point also being made by Ian Ferguson that then you do have like 3 guys that you're also going to try to plug in to see who plays best with each other, 100%. Which Lord knows we just went all crazy trying to figure that game out last year with every center back pairing except for like I think the one that we all wanted. Which was Toby and Roden. I don't think that would ever even happen. So yeah, you're right. Let's not get too many like cooks in this kitchen. Let's just go with the big guy, Christian Romero. And I refresh it every day, and it just seems like it just gets a little bit higher, Bucks, every time.
It does seem like they're just creeping it up on us. It's like that Geico commercial where they had the fisherman with $1 bill on the fishing line. You got to be quicker than that. They're just keeping on rolling up the bill. We can never grab it. But in this case, Romero is the bait. He's the player. He's on the reel, but they just keep on pulling him back. They got a nice cadence going on that fishing boat. All right, today's match played MK Dons Delhi homecoming to his original club, where he was just a Ute back then, but scoring goals in League One. I'll tell you what, nice stadium. But even nicer, in my opinion, were the new kits. The away kits, they got to wear them this year. I thought it looked fantastic on TV when you were looking at the players from the front. The butt bib, though. What's up with the butt bib? Why isn't it just all black on the back of the shirt?
I don't know. It would have been a perfect 10. It didn't bother me probably as much as you. What I really like too is like I thought it looked great from the front, just like the color scheme, looking at the two teams going against each other when it's the panned out normal view that you would watch. And then it's like they do a close up on like Skip after a tackle, and then you'd see the kit and like all the detailed design with it, with the swirls and all that going on, and get you even more fired up. The kits are awesome, Bucks. I'm getting a Skip one. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Skip 29. Acid
Subtle
Skip
touch I
kit.
loved was the purple stripe on the collar. How that piece is purple. I love getting that purple in there. That Spurs purple. I thought it looked really good. I love the acid Skip jerseys. I love the acid
skips.
skip
We call them the acid skip trips.
I will say, having the Volt green numbers, great look. The whole thing just pops on screen. The butt bib, though, it's almost like they're wearing a nice little, what do you wear? An apron, but on their butts.
Like a cummerbund?
It's either a butt bib or a butt apron.
Isn't a cummerbund like with a tux, but that's in the front? So it's like you turned it backwards for a tuxedo? Never mind.
Shakes, who do you think you're speaking to right now, pal?
Bucks, I have 2 cummerbunds in my closet right now.
Be truthful. You have more than 2 cummerbunds, it sounds like.
Ruffles always got to go up. If they have it down, it's upside down. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I had a meeting last night, a dinner meeting, and first time in forever I've had to do it. And I'm sitting there just like, Jesus, do I even fit into any of these clothes? Like, what am I going to look like here? And then I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I look like a chode. I look like a nice brick that inserted himself into pants that don't fit well and a shirt that fits even worse.
Then you had a couple beers and things were fine?
Yeah, I let it rip.
Okay. Just want to make sure it had a happy ending.
It's all in your head, man. You think anybody else is paying attention. In my line of work, I'm not selling to them. I'm there to help them. That's it. So who are they if they judge the way that I look like Farva?
And how you dress.
I look like Farva from Super Troopers. Who are they to judge? Sons of bitches. But yeah,
certainly not them.
The kits look good. The kits look good. The team look good too. First question. How do you feel about the approach that Nuno seems to be taking tactics-wise? And what do you think it is?
Well, I didn't know if this was, again, we're trying to get Dele on display because Spurs just went into a 4-2-3-1, let him rove around, try to link up with Son, Lucas, and Steve. And really, you kind of saw Skip playing a little further back and Niall John. Really, they were the 2 holding mids is the way I kind of took it. And I don't think that's the tactic yet, Bucks, until I see more first teamers out there and also transfers eventually. I just think I'm watching games where the coach is assessing all their individual efforts, how they link up with each other. He's definitely making real hard looks at like the youngsters. So, he's really focusing on probably John and Skip, how they play together. He's looking at Carter Vickers, who started with Tanganga on the back line today. I think he's more concerned about that versus really pushing through this tactic of a 4-2-3-1 with Dele floating. I think for sure you're going to see Spurs eventually play a back 3 as well. So I'm not reading too much into it yet, but I take it you were? Is that why you asked me? Or
No. I'm talking more, and I should have framed the question better. That's on me.
For sure.
I know. I like the triangles that I kept seeing as they get up the field a little bit. So you see the triangles build, and you see that kind of break point. It's all built on single touch passing, maybe 1 or 2 touches, but quick passing. And the most impressive thing was the way Lucas was handling that on the right wing. Lucas would accept the ball after a slight buildup where he just had a little morsel of space. And then he would try to capitalize on that to bring it back inside, which then would pull the defender in with him. And that would lead the trailing run on the backhand side down the wing. And I kept seeing that throughout today's match. And it really stood out to me that, damn, this looks a hell of a lot better than anything Jose schemed up. Or at least that Jose said, have the freedom to do this. Here's the idea. Now let's see if it works. It seems to work. Our guys had the ball in space an awful lot today. And I know we're playing a League One squad in MK Dons, but those solid fundamentals of that quick touch passing, finding that outside space, cutting it inside, and then making sure that folks are on the same page in terms of you're not doing that, Lucas, to just dart up the gut with your head down. You're doing that to free up space for others and get rid of the ball as soon as you see that run break. I saw that today. That looked good. Nile John, Jerry, I gotcha. Nile John did not have the best game that I've seen, but only because he wasn't on the ball. I thought he was doing the same thing. Skip was immense in that kind of role in the middle of finding those quick, searing passes through the middle. Everything looked pretty good. It looked crisp. It looked fun. So if we could bring that fun back and find those small triangles, fantastic. Lucas was my man of the match today. I thought Lucas was all over the pitch. I thought Lucas had control of his passing because he was looking to pass. He had men in space, found him. He looked great today. Your thoughts?
I think Son was my man of the match, then Lucas, and then give it to either Deli, Skip. I didn't think Reggie still got some rust. Doherty, tough to say. Backline probably playing together for the first time in years if they played ever together with Tang and Carter Vickers, and they definitely had some shaky moments, especially in the first half. Sonny, I mean, just really, he scored 2 goals. That one was offside. And then he set up Deli, had that assist. He's just like an absolute menace out there. But you're right, Bucks. It's like just the enigma of Lucas Moura. He's like so fun to watch when he's clicking. He's making these driving runs from the midfield. He makes a great pass, like through the line to set up Sonny. It just feels like if you could get that more consistently out of him, he's on your team all day long and starting 11. It's just sometimes it just doesn't work that way. And it's because when you're in the Prem, space is an absolute premium out there. So he just doesn't have, that kind of room to work. And that definitely limits him. Just because it's not like he can head the ball okay, but he's not like an aerial force and he's not like a hold-up player. So, it's getting him in space. It's just when the space is available. Did you think, you said Nile John, you didn't think had the best game. I thought Skip outplayed him as a holding midfielder, but Skip
Agreed.
To me I love his diagonal passing. He looks way more jacked, right? I'm thinking his haircut looks great now. The way he's got it kind of short and flipped to the side. I'm just all in on the Skip situation right now,
he's
man.
had a glow up completely.
Yeah.
Skip must be trying to find a wife.
I think he can hold off on that for a while. Have some fun, Skippy.
He seems like a guy that wants to settle down, focus on his football, his family.
Let Sonny and Deli take you under their wing.
Focus on his bakery that he's going to franchise out. He's going to stake a bakery. Get his bread there every day.
I'm in on the Skip experience. I did tell you I wanted to have a new segment called the Buck Stops Here. Buck stops here or starts here?
Either. I like Buck starts here.
I like starts here because it's going to be you make outlandish claims over one of our youngsters. Similar to like last podcast. The Buck starts here. Nile John, holding midfielder in the Prem by October.
I would never say that, but I'll do that. We'll start the new segment right now. Buck starts here. Skip will be young player of the season.
Wow. Love it. We're going to get one of those each. It's going to get real like hairy after a few of these weeks go by. You'll be like everywhere. Alfie Whiteman, top 5 goalkeeper in the world. Yeah.
No. He's
better
not
than Hugo
either.
Huh?
No, he's good. He's a good shot stopper.
Stop the PK. Even though
he looks a little wobbly when the ball's in the air, though. He looks a little uncertain of his body once the ball is up in the air after a deflection or anything like that. He's got work to do. I think he'll be a good third keeper for the club. Joe Hart obviously on his way out. But back to Skip. Skip is everywhere, man. He's there on defense. He's the link-up play. He's also, right on that edge of the box. Skip is a player that I think could honestly, the Buck starts here. I think he could end up as the top youngster in the Prem this year. I think he's going to have a huge role to play. I think that Nuno is quickly growing to love that guy, and I think he's going to get shine early on. That loan to Norwich was probably the best thing that could have happened to him last year. And the fact that for once it seemed like a Spurs youngster actually got a good run at one of their loan options, it meant the world for him. And he learned how to win. He learned how to command respect in a tough league. I mean, the championship, I watch a ton of it. It's tougher than shit. You know, they play a ton of games. You said it last week. He's one of their top 3 or 4 players. You know, he was up there. He was up there. But he's just a damn good player, man. So I'm all for the Oliver Skip experience. I thought Delhi played well. I think he's back to kind of feeling his groove. That first pass to Sonny where he was just a fraction offside.
Oh my God.
Lord. What a pass that was. He's had some good moments and he seems to be feeling pretty good about himself. I thought it was really cool that we gave him the captain's armband, returning to MK Dons. Complete opposite of how Jose treated Toby going back to Antwerp, where he wasn't even on the roster.
Jose.
Tip of the cap.
I can't wait to follow Roma and just hate watch them.
Yeah, they're playing damn well in the preseason. They have played
fuck that.
Probably worse teams than what we've played. But
I for my next week's target on Buck Starts Here, I'm thinking Pescazzi. You're going to look at him.
I like Pescazzi.
I know. I'm waiting for the next Buck Starts Here outlandish claim about him. Next podcast.
Now that we know his name, I love the name. Pescazzi.
Maxim? What is he? Yeah, Maxim.
Maxim Pescazzi. That kid's quick.
Here we go.
Down the wing.
Yeah. Starting right back by November. Yeah.
Wait until you see my starting 11 for the Man City game, folks. It's going to blow your mind.
It'll be fun.
Just mind-blowing stuff. Sonny, we got to talk Sonny. One of the top players. He's coming into his own here at 29 years old. The guy is just an absolute stud. And he's just getting better. The training regiment from Pops we're reaping benefits of that right now. Pops better stay on his ass.
Definitely should. I just love Spurs getting that signing done. I felt like I never read a single transfer rumor. Like never did I have that fear at all that something would happen and our boy Sonny would depart from us. I mean, I think he could easily be a starting striker on Spurs and Spurs wouldn't skip a beat, but we're not going down that path. We told ourselves we're not talking about any other strikers on the squad today. So
today.
We'll dive into that at a different time.
We're staying positive today.
Yeah,
we look
positive.
good. We're at a Grateful Dead concert from 2:45 to 4:45 here in the States.
Acid Trip skit.
Yeah, little Scarlet Begonias into Fire on the Mountain. That's how I felt watching that game.
Nice. Uncle John's Band.
Yeah, Uncle John's Band is not one of my favorites. It's a good song.
Yeah.
I'm partial to Scarlet Begonias into Fire. That's how I roll. You strike me as a space guy.
Meh. Honestly, now I got to flip on some Dead. I've been listening to that in forever. You ever like go through stints where it's just like, you're like, wow, I haven't listened to this group in years. And then next thing you know, it's just flooding your Spotify or your Amazon Prime Music, whatever you use.
I usually just listen to podcasts for the most part. I've been obviously binging Sopranos. I'm almost done. I think I have like 10 more episodes left. But I've gotten
pretty intense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I was talking to you about it. Watching Sopranos from season 6 on,
you like smoke a cigarette after every episode, man.
Yeah, you do.
You like calm down.
And then you pour one out.
Yeah.
You just gotta pour a beer out for somebody. Oh, it's totally different. I was going from like watching 2 or 3 a day. That's my life, folks. When it was all, it was all real easy and breezy to watch The Sopranos. But then once you get into that, where everything is going spiraling downhill and feds are heating up and people are just falling off every single episode. Yeah, I need a cigarette and I don't even smoke, but I do keep a pack. I always keep a pack. You never know when you might need a cigarette.
Is that life advice?
I think it's a good piece of life advice. My problem is there's only a couple of bars that sell cigarettes down here anymore and let you smoke inside. Anytime I don't smoke, right? Like I chew, but I rarely chew now, Shakes, by the way.
Good.
I'm weaning off the habit. Yeah.
So wait, do you bring the cigarette pack like when you go to these bars every time?
No.
So like it always goes with you?
No, I have to buy it there for like $12.
Just to like do something while you're there, or it's
I'm tipping my cap to my forefathers before me.
understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just not going to the gas station to get it.
Do you
It's
think
gotta be at the
anybody was
bar.
sitting in there not smoking a cigarette in 1960? No.
So you have to pull
all
like that
smoking
old school knob, and then it like falls to the bottom, like it's like a vending machine.
No, this one, it's behind the bar. I
Nah,
think they did away with the vending machines because kids were getting in there and shit, you know?
those were cool.
They were cool. I kind of miss those. Life advice. Life advice tt@gmail.com. Taking a bit from Russillo.
Yeah, so it might be ripping somebody.
Pretty good segment on a podcast, though. But I usually listen to podcasts. But yeah, I go in and out with bands. I do. But then I get really hung up on bands. Like I'm going to see Dead & Co. in October. So
Nice.
Yeah, paid an arm and a leg for those tickets, let me tell you.
Is EJ flying in for it?
No.
Nah.
No, but I did just book a flight to Cincinnati. I see you in here, Ian. I will be in Cincinnati with Everton Jordan and a couple other buddies for the U.S.-Mexico match in November. I'm looking forward to that. But overall, satisfied with the performance. Man of the match. I got Lucas 1. Probably have Skip 2, Deli 3.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I had Son in there, but Deli and Skip were also up there for me as well. It's going to be interesting, Bucks. Just need to figure out the center back situation as I watch Carter Vickers and the Sack Tanganga come out in a back four.
I'm not even going to talk about Carter Vickers, but I will say that Tanganga I thought looked awesome. He's Johnny on the spot. The guy's a stud.
You love him. We get it. He can do no wrong.
I know you get it.
He's a $20 scratch off.
Come on, Twitter. You're messing with me. I had Spurs highlights going. All right, let's get into a couple of questions here real quick. We answered quite a few of them as we droned on there endlessly, but we'll get into a couple of these.
That's what we do.
So we got Graham here. Do we keep players too long at Spurs? Other clubs are more ruthless with moving players on before they get comfortable or have a managed decline.
Short answer to me is absolutely yes, because I know we've long talked about it, just like how Spurs got really just nothing for Danny Rose. That's a free. You watch players like Toby and Lamela, and even like Trippier's value went down. Jan left on a free, and now you're watching guys like Eric Dyer lose their value. It does have that feeling that just Spurs hang on too long. It's easier said than done to transfer out players, Bucks. But with that said, if we had Paratici under the helm, I was thinking about this the other day. So this question kind of actually just goes right into it. Like, I wonder if that then would have gotten done. You would have had this manic guy, just the rat, working the cell phone with his, I don't know if you notice, he doesn't wear the AirPods. He wears like the actual cable like I do, earpieces. But he's just constantly on that thing, and they say he just doesn't stop working. So if that was the case, maybe he would have been moving those guys out, because it does feel like Poch wanted to make some moves when he was there. It's just it ran into like the Hitch and Levy wall, and they just held on too long for a few guys.
Yeah, I'd say we hang on way too long.
Yeah.
Sissoko, get rid of him. It's going to suck. Yeah, no. You got to do what you got to do, man. It's a ruthless game out there.
Well, the one guy that forced himself out was Kyle Walker, and Spurs made a killing on that one. I mean, he's still like best right back in the Prem probably, but still, like, that's what happened. They got 50 million plus for that one.
They did. Yeah,
Erickson,
we hang on for
23 million. Or what was Erickson? 20 million?
Yeah, it was like 18 or 19.
Because the contract gets run out. I mean, it's just stuff like that. It's like there just should have been more money to work with to replenish the squad.
All right, we got Scott here. How about the renewed optimism in our manager, director of football, and recent transfers and rumors? Maybe it's just me, but away kid aside, parentheses, perhaps it'll grow on me. I'm feeling quite optimistic about things going into this new season. I'll start. I feel great about the kit, number one. I like acid skips. That's a lot of fun. If I can have an acid skip for 10 to 12 matches this season, I'm going to be a happy camper. Renewed optimism. Number one, what I've seen from Nuno is a guy that seems amicable. He seems like somebody that the players are having fun playing for. It doesn't seem to be like just a relentless dictatorship that we saw under Jose. It seems like there's a bit more relationship between the players and him early on, just in terms of what I've seen with reactions on the pitch, what I've seen in training videos, how he speaks about the team post match. I'm seeing somebody that reminds me a lot more of Poch. I like that. I also think that having taken Wolves to new heights, this is a guy that should be very successful for Spurs. So I am feeling good about that. I'm also feeling good with getting people out the door. I like bringing in the influx of youth talent. If we can just get something at a heel this year, that's icing on the cake. I think he's going to score goals. I think he's going to create chances. I think he's going to be quite a player for us in the Conference League. Optimism is there for that. Paratici, you can call him whatever you want, the Rat. We're just going to call him the Rat. So
I like that it's grown on you.
Yeah, it's totally grown on me.
Mighty Mouse.
The Rat seems to have a good understanding of players that not only are players that are good on the pitch, but that match the personality of the club. Bring them in, have fun. That's what I want. I want this team to have fun. I don't know if it's just seeing the acid skip jerseys today or if it's something else, but I have a renewed sense of optimism, like completely renewed. I feel like a reborn Christian today, a reborn Spur. I was doomy and gloomy the last couple of months, Shakes. I was the worst. In fact, I could barely sleep. And it was all in my head. It's a mental exercise. You got to break through those bad feelings. And you got to start feeling like this team could do something. If Lucas Moore is playing like this, if Dele elevates his game, if Steve is flashy down the wings and can finally get that finishing touch on a ball, I don't know. The sky seems like it could be the limit. Reggie had that nice run where he almost scored today. He should have scored today. We have a little bit of grease in the pan. We just got to throw some eggs in there.
Let them cook.
Let them cook over easy.
I like Spurs Reborn. Maybe that's the title of the podcast, but then you drop the grease in the pan on me, so there might be something there. But yeah, Bucks, I think you see this in a lot of like sport teams, like doesn't if it's soccer or American football or basketball. It's like you go from drill sergeant, guy that was just no one liked him, to then like the player's coach. So that's where Spurs are, it seems like, in this juncture. It seems to also mesh well with the Rat because he seems to be pretty much all business. And, players are just the numbers to him. So he's, and I'm sure he's got good relationships with all of them. I'm more saying because it just seems like he's just the workaholic and we're trying to move players in and out right now. So I kind of like the mix the way it's looking right now because the other way kind of sucked. So it'll hopefully come to fruition with a few more transfers in, and then we can start playing some meaningful games. It might start out a little rough though with Man City coming to town. So maybe we'll have to focus on a few games after that and some Europa Conference. That might start soon. I don't even know. We might even still play. Do we know if we played a Europa Conference game yet?
No, I don't think we.
Like I think the qualifying rounds might start next week.
If we have, we're not doing our jobs well.
Yeah. We have split squads like it's American baseball. Spurs are playing MK Dons at the same time.
That's where Harry Kane is
out in Serbia. Yeah.
I was watching Puscazzi today, and you had Harry Kane going in a competitive match over there in Serbia.
Oh boy, can't wait for it, Bucks. I'm in, but I feel like I was always more optimistic, but I was getting a little down in the dumps myself. So I'm glad to join you on the other side. Spurs Reborn.
All right, last one here from Brian Lozen. Is this preseason from Lucas something to realistically be expected from him to build off of? Does his passing and attacking style fit perfectly in a Nuno system? Your thoughts?
I would say at this juncture in his career, Lucas is who he is. So what that means, though, is he could be a very serviceable, good player for some stints, some extended periods of time where maybe he strings together a 5 to 10 match run where he is just very, very good on the ball, maybe actually finishes a few times, sets up some players. It's just, if you're asking will Lucas be starting 85% of the Prem matches and being like one of the best 3 forwards out there between Spurs and whoever their opponent is? I don't think it's that, Bucks. I think, though, having the proper expectations with Lucas could still mean a successful season for him. It's just he's not, I mean, peak Delhi's still better than Lucas. Son's going to be always better than Lucas. At some point, I think Steve could be better than Lucas, but Steve just hasn't shown it yet. So I'm buying Lucas stock, but I understand that it's a value stock. It's not some high growth stock.
So it's a meme stock, is what you're saying?
No, meme stocks have like zero valuation. I feel like a meme stock would be like paying 50 mil for Ben White.
That is good meme stock.
Yeah, that's a meme stock.
Crash and burn stock. Keep dumping money in stock and then die a painful death. Very slow. Trickle out. Kind of like a few of the calls I made in the market over the last 3 months. However, I'm a believer, man. I think Lucas sets up really well on that right wing. And the reason being is our one biggest question that we have failed to address this offseason has been right back. So if we have Doherty, if Serge never finds a way out, Lucas really works his ass off to cover. I mean, Lucas does really, really well on that wing, and he is very supplementary on the defensive end. I think he's one of those players that you notice him when you watch him play. You notice the effort. I mean, he's better than Lamela, but he's also very similar to Lamela without the shithousery, meaning that the hustle's going to be there. The heart's going to be there. The man was once quoted saying, and I quote, "Come on the Spurs." He's trying to come on the Spurs, man. So let the boy come.
I am in the camp. You definitely keep him and do not transfer him out. You only transfer him out if you did get a brand new right back as the upgrade, and then you knew for sure you got either Romero or other monster center backs coming in because of that work he does, Bucks. So I think that's where he's absolutely necessary, and he will be a good piece and a good team player for the squad. So I'm not trying to say at all that I am down on Lucas this year. I think he will be good. It's just, it's not like suddenly he's going to capture his Champions League run and just mimic it for the entire season. That's just not happening. So I still, though, think we have a very good player in Lucas Moura.
I do too. All right, we're going to end the episode with something different here. So usually Shakes and I, and Shakes has no idea what's coming here. We usually start the episode with banter, talking about personal things, a funny story here and there. Decided we're going to flip it. We're going to save that for the end on these episodes. So we'll start with this story from this past weekend. I lived a Seinfeld episode with my father on Saturday. It was the perfect plot for a Seinfeld episode, and we lived through it. So I was down in St. Pete. For those that don't know, I live in Tampa, Florida. It's about 25, 30 minutes from St. Pete, depending on traffic. And we are season ticket holders for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, my dad and I. So we had tickets for the game that night, 7:30 game. But I had a birthday party for a friend that started at noon in St. Pete. So my dad and I usually carpool. We take an Uber from my place down to the game, Uber back. It's all fine.
So you mash beers. Smart.
Yeah. But obviously, I was already down there. My dad lives much further away, and Uber would not be proper for him to get in terms of cost-benefit analysis. So he drove down. So the plan was we meet up for dinner at 6 o'clock, then we head to the match. The plan is park in this parking garage where you push a button, you get a ticket, just like any of the millions of parking garages around the world, and then you park your car, put the ticket in when you leave, and you pay based on the time allotted in there. So we're sitting there at dinner, and something's weird with my dad. Like, I can't figure it out, right? And I'm drunk, by the way, folks.
Well, you started drinking probably at noon is what it sounds like.
I did.
Okay.
So I'd had a few beers, so I'm not all there mentally, but I'm in good shape. I'm in very good shape. And something's just off with that. So I said, hey, what's going on? He just goes, Matt, the weirdest thing happened. When we were sitting there for the parking garage. I never got a ticket. I was like, what? What do you mean you never got a ticket? How did you get into the parking garage?
Yeah.
He goes, well, press the button, put my card in, and the gate went up. Took my card out, waited for the ticket. There was no ticket. And I just decided to drive through with the open gate. And I was just like, why would you just drive through the open gate? He goes, well, there was no ticket attendant. I didn't know what to do. I panicked and I got into the garage so we wouldn't miss dinner in the game. So mind you, he tells me this, and I'm immediately like, oh, shit. Are we going to have to Uber back to my place later? Figure out what to do tomorrow because I'm inebriated. His cell phone is from 1994. We don't know what to do. I mean, the thing is bulky. So, of course, we start panicking. There's no attendant. I'm like, shit, what are we going to do? So I called 3 different numbers this place had listed on different little placards all over this place. Couldn't get a hold of anybody on these numbers. My dad's calling them, trying to get everybody on the horn. We can't figure it out. Finally, it gets to be 15 minutes before kick. I said, Dad, we just got to go to the game. We got to not think about it for 2 hours. Can we do that? He's like, absolutely. We talked about it for the entire match. Like, what the hell are we going to do?
How do we get home?
Rowdies win 3-1. So the whole time we're walking back to this parking garage, and me and my dad are just crossing our fingers. Please let there be an attendant here. Let there be somebody we can talk to. We turn the corner to the parking garage, the attendant's sitting in the booth, and my dad just lets out a, yes! All right, sprints up there. Hey, my truck's in there. I don't have a ticket. The guy goes, you don't need a ticket. My dad's just like, what the hell do you mean I don't need a ticket? Are you telling me that we really didn't need a ticket? The guy just goes, no, you put your card in, registers the card, and then you just plug it back in and you leave. And I just start dying, laughing, staring at my dad. It was a Seinfeld episode. So sure as shit, we pull down there, put the card in, gate comes up, we're done.
I'm sure those instructions were written all over that, Bucks. You could have saw that when you guys went over there the first time.
Well, of course, I was like the caveman in this situation, just punching at this screen with just my 255-pound body, just punching the screen. And of course, I don't register like 2,000 pounds. So it was unable to generate a ticket for me. But yeah, it was a Seinfeld episode. We felt like jackasses, but we had a laugh on the whole ride home. Just like, my God, we were both worried as shit about getting that car out.
Crisis averted.
Yeah.
There was a Seinfeld where they were stuck in a parking garage, but I think they just couldn't find their car, right?
They couldn't find
that was that
car.
episode. So at least you knew where it was.
Yeah.
So there was that. And did you already think like, I'm going to just go to the gate and just lift it, and my dad's going to drive through it, and they're going to take a picture of the plate, and that's just what's going to happen? That's probably the way I would have like handled the situation.
My dad has a nice grill guard because he used to live up in the Midwest, and there are a lot of deer that would constantly barrage his truck. So he has the most massive grill guard you'll ever see in your life. I mean, it looks like a viper.
Stupid deer running into his car.
So he could have just blasted through the gate, no problems. And we were talking about doing that. That's the funny part about it. We were like, are we willing to risk it all right now? We'd have to do it before the match, though, because obviously, you don't want to just leave the match and then do that with a celebratory thing. But we could have rammed it, Jerry. We could have rammed the damn thing. We did not ram it. But it was so stupid because you think about things like that eat at you like that when you just can't talk to somebody. And that brings me full circle to, we need people in the booths. I need to be able to talk to you if there's a problem. And then if you're going to provide phone call or phone numbers, I need to be able to call that phone number and talk to people. So that's my story for the evening. That is my Bucky Seinfeld episode.
Made it back, and the Rowdies won.
You should have seen us laughing maniacally on the drive back at how stupid we were, thinking it was this like monumental thing that we had to get through.
I feel like you did what all of us would have done, and you just said, look, we'll figure it out. Let's just go, and we'll keep drinking.
Yeah.
So that I like your solution, and I think that's what I would have done too.
Well, he wasn't drinking. He was way
at that point. It was way too stressful for him.
Yeah. Like usually he'll go down there and have
his mind had to have been in like a pretzel that entire game. Poor guy.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And then we get home, and I've never seen a man snack as hard as he was snacking. I mean, my snack silos decimated.
Oof.
Gummy bears everywhere. I always stay on the gummy bear shakes.
Didn't you tell the story where you were working upstairs and your dad came in to get a beer? And so he just let himself in. And then when you walk down, you yell, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" And he thought, like, "Oh, shit, I'm in the wrong place." So he just dropped the beer and smashed it all over the
Yeah, he
kitchen
did.
floor because he just thought he walked into the wrong apartment at your ghost apartment.
My dad is super concerned with not bothering people. Okay.
Or breaking and entering.
The last thing he wants to do is disrupt my workday if he's coming over and we're going to a game. Yeah, that was the last Rowdies game we went to. He like tries to shuffle in all coy and make no noise, but I hear the beer crack, of course. It's like 2:30. So
Yeah.
I was real quiet going downstairs. Hey, what's going on here? Beer just hits the floor. Oh, Jesus, man. You scared me.
Give your dad a heart attack, man.
No, he's got a strong heart. Unlike mine. All right, folks, that'll wrap it here. Thank you all for joining. Follow us on Twitter at TTPodCoys and on YouTube if you'd like to see our ugly mugs. Well, my ugly mug shakes his beautiful mug from a weird angle with a massive microphone, which he's actually subdued quite a bit. You can find us at Talking Tottenham Pod on the YouTube. Appreciate all the love and support. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We go live once a week, folks. We'll pick it up during the season. I cannot wait for it. Danny Shakes, sign the people off.
Let's go. Let's build on this momentum, get more players in, and come on, you Spurs.
Coys, get it done. Beat either Chelsea or Arsenal in the preseason.